Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the Pulse of Western Nation, brought to you by XCancer. Check them out at XCancer.com. Today I have a special guest with me, starting defensive lineman, black shirt, Ty Robinson. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for taking the time to join me. This is as we record this, the Monday following the North Dakota game. So I want to talk a little bit about Northwestern, a little bit about North Dakota, and then we'll look ahead to Georgia Southern. How would you evaluate the D-line's performance, the play through the first two games of the season so far?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm really proud of how we've been playing up front. We just haven't really been as physical as we were last year and the year before that. It really just starts with us in practice and just kind of bringing that juice and knowing that we're bigger, stronger, faster than those guys across from us. So not really too happy with what we got going on, but that's a great thing about football is that each week is a new game and a new chance to change.
So what are some of the things going into this week? And you talked about realizing what you guys are capable of doing versus the opponent, which is the offensive line, of course. How do you make some of those changes going into this week as you get ready for a team like Georgia Southern, who threw the ball just shy of 50 times last week?
It really just starts with film study, really understanding kind of how their offense works and operates, and especially with their O-line, kind of what kind of looks they're going to give you. And then it's just really practicing it and the technique in practice and really being dialed in and understanding those details and being able to take those details from the film to the field and kind of visualizing so you're ready on game day.
What are some of the things, and you guys probably haven't watched too much of Georgia Southern's just yet this early in the week, but what are some of the things that you kind of expect out of them, anticipate? If I was in your shoes, I guess what I'm getting at, they threw the ball 50 times. Oh, hell yeah, I get to rush the quarterback. That's what my thought process would be. But how are you and how are your teammates kind of approaching this week?
Yeah, I mean, when you hear that, I mean, it definitely perks our ears. Just know that they're going to be kind of a pass-heavy team, but also understand that they have a pretty solid offensive line up front, so we're going to have to be ready for the run game as well. We can't just be really focused and dialed in on the pass game.
Talk to me about what it's like, and it's been no secret. You know, I've talked about your physical capabilities. I mean, you have a very high ceiling. I've talked about how Colton Feast is one of my favorite players on this team, being a walk-on from Utah, Nebraska, to a guy who's earned a black shirt. So talk to me about what it's like playing next to a guy like Colton, who's been able to achieve something that has happened in the past in Husker football history, obviously, but it's become a little bit more rare in recent times.
Yeah, it just really tells me what kind of guy he is, what kind of character he has, and then I can trust him when I'm out there on the field. I know that he's not going to make the mental mistakes or mental errors that normally someone would. Just knowing that I can just focus on my job and do my job, and I know he can do his. I mean, it helps me out a lot.
Now, we've had a lot of new faces join this team this offseason. That's no secret. The transfer portal is very, very real. You brought in a lot of talented guys. Talk to me about Stephen Wynn, the Alabama transfer, the Texas Tech transfer, how those D tackles are kind of doing up front as they assimilate into this defensive line room.
Yeah, they're both really strong, powerful guys. Stefan, he's really analytical, really detail-oriented out there. It's fun to watch him play, and especially when we get back and review the film, it's fun to watch him play. And then Devin Drew, he's got a solid set of hands on him. I mean, his strike is very powerful. And he's really twitchy and really quick, too, so it's awesome to see that we can kind of bring these new guys in and kind of use their talents that people haven't seen yet here from Nebraska.
So you talked about Georgia Southern. They do have a good offensive line, and you can't just overplay the pass. You got to prevent the run, play solid run defense up front. So what are some of the things you're going to try to do? Because you mentioned it, you want to be better against the run, a little bit more physical up front. So how do you focus on that specifically when it comes to physicality and it comes to being more successful at stopping the opponent's running game?
Yeah, I think it really just breaks down to technique and practice. I mean, even today I got frustrated with myself because I was missing little technique errors here and there. And it's just really just with the hands and great technique with pad level, knowing where you're supposed to go, just holding your gap, not getting washed up the field or washed down the line, So it just kind of all of those things kind of put together and kind of just going out there and practice and really focusing on those.
So for the fine folks at home, I get asked all the time. I did an offensive line technique video about a week ago. If you missed that, You find folks at home, go check it out on YouTube. Last fall, I did a defensive line technique video talking about the pass rush more specifically, but I get asked all the time about technique and things of that nature. I think it's very endearing and curious by the fine folks at home. So when you say hand placement, if you don't mind, what do you mean specifically, and how? Because you're a tall dude, you're 6'6". So how do you lower your pad level? It's easy to say just get lower, but how do you actually do things like that? What do you specifically mean with your hands? Because I know the folks at home are going to be curious about that.
Right, when you strike, I mean, it's inside hands, and you kind of want to lift that offensive lineman up, and then it's squatting at the knees, not bending over at the waist, so you can be agile and be able to arm and throw over to make the tackle. And I just really think with like pad level, it's just bend at the knees. It's not playing as a waist bender. And then, like, especially like when we're on the move, you still, like, I have a tendency where I stand, kind of get high pad level when I'm on the move, and I'm just trying to strike that outside shoulder of the guard or inside shoulder of the guard, whatever the play may be. But I think it's just all really dependent. And get off's even more important. I mean, that's the first thing, is you got to have a great get off. If you have a sloppy, slow get off, you're going to have high pad level. You're going to get blown up off the ball.
So how do you, like, in your mind, how does someone improve their get-off other than reacting to the ball moving quickly? That's obvious. But how else would you personally improve your get-off or help a teammate who's trying to improve their get-off?
I mean, really, it's just kind of imagining there's a guard in front of you, or a tackle, or a nose, or whoever it is, and then it's that first step. They can have a ball and stick, and they can move it, or you can go to the sled work and really focus on how we want to strike that offensive lineman. You want to strike him hard and low. We have Serge here, who's a great sled and to strike, and I mean, he definitely helps me keep my pad level low, because if you hit it too high, he won't budge at all. He won't get pushed back at all. So it really shows you like where the sweet spot is, and that's right in the center of his chest. And you got to have a powerful strike, and it can't go up, down, to the side, or whatever. It's got to go straight back through him.
So, I mean, we've talked about things the D-line needs to get better at, improve upon, so that's been discussed. Talk to me about, some things that you feel like you guys have done well to this point of the season.
I'm really happy with how we added in these new guys. There's no separation within the D-line room. I think we've all we've glued pretty well together throughout fall camp, and with Devin Drew coming late. I mean, he's just been a great addition. We love having these guys here. And then I think as we go throughout the season, we're figuring out how we can play with each other, kind of what the others are thinking throughout the game. So I think I think the only way we can go is going up.
Talk to me about what it's like playing next to and with a guy like Garrett Nelson. He's got a ton of energy. His leadership has been talked about. He's one of the playmakers on the defense. How a guy, because I've always said the attitude and effort is contagious. If somebody has a bad attitude and isn't giving great effort, it's contagious to the next guy. And if one guy is playing like a ball of fire, a bunch of energy, having fun, that's contagious as well. So talk to me about what it's like playing next to a guy like Garrett Nelson.
Yep, I mean, it helps. Like I said, like when I get on myself for having a little error or whatever, he's the first one to come over and pick me up, and it helps me kind of get out of that funk and remember that there's a next play, new play, forget that last play. And then when he's going out there making plays, I mean, it's just awesome, because I know that the defense is performing well. We're all doing our jobs inside and out. So he's just an awesome guy, and especially to be playing next to us.
All right, man, thank you for taking the time to join me. Good luck this Saturday against Georgia Southern. And until next time, Husker Nation, go big red, and always remember,
throw the bones.
This show is brought to you by XCancer. Join the fight at XCancerStore.com and support your loved ones, your neighbors, and cancer fighters all over the world, and help them gain access to revolutionary treatments. XCancerStore.com has a wide variety of t-shirts and merchandise supporting a wide variety of cancer battles, so you can show off the colors that matter. Proceeds from each purchase not only help those at home, but also cancer fighters in Tanzania, Africa. Check them out at XCancerStore.com.